Good day, my name is Elsje-Marie van Zyl. I'm a labour advisor at the SEESA Nelspruit office.
Good day, my name is Martin Engelbrecht. I'm also from the Nelspruit SEESA office, specializing in labour law.
Today we will be talking about the new Code of Good Practice regarding harassment in the workplace.
Elsje, what is this code that you mentioned?
The new Code of Good Practice on the Prevention and Elimination of Harassment in the Workplace is in terms of the Employment Equity Act. It has been effective from 18 March 2022 and repeals the previous code. The guidelines of the code is for employers and employees to eliminate and prevent harassment as a form of unfair discrimination in the workplace. It complies with international standards and it aims to remove grey areas that the past code has, meaning that it's more detailed and more specific to types of harassment and more types of harassment. It also obliges employers to develop policies and procedures to deal with harassment in the workplace.
To who does this code apply?
It applies to any individual in contact or dealing with the business beyond just employees, including job seekers, suppliers, contractors, trainees, and even clients harassing employees. It also applies to informal and formal industries or sectors, and it's not only when employees are on duty and at their workplace, but also work-related activities such as trips, training, social activities, and virtual work.
Seems like it's quite comprehensively applied, but what is harassment?
The definition in terms of the code is unwanted conduct, which impairs dignity, creates a hostile or intimidating work environment, and has the effect of actual or threatened adverse consequences. And this is related and based on the grounds of discrimination that is prohibited in our laws by the Employment Equity Act.
Okay. But when does contact then constitute harassment?
It's when it is unwanted conduct, and that can be determined either by communication that the conduct is unwelcome and in a verbal or non-verbal manner, meaning that you can say the conduct is unwanted or you can indicate it in some sort of manner like a gesture. It's also based on the reasonable person test, even if there is no communication that conduct is unwanted, meaning that would a reasonable person see the conduct as unwanted and would they take the necessary steps to avoid expressing that type of conduct towards a person. There is an exception with sexual harassment, even if there is no indication that the conduct is unwanted or there were previous consensual incidents that occurred, the conduct can still amount to sexual harassment. Normally, harassment constitutes when there is a repeated incident or a very serious incident of harassment, and that's determined based on the circumstances and the merits of every case of harassment. The test is objective, but based on the perspective of the employee who feels or who was harassed. The intention of the harasser is not necessarily considered, but the impact of the conduct on the individual. Again, this is a reasonable person test, meaning that would a reasonable person feel harassed by that conduct in terms of our societal and constitutional values?
Okay. Please help me understand, what are some examples of the different types of harassment?
There are many types of harassment, and especially in the new code, even more types or examples are set out. What I like to call the classic forms of harassment, which was also in the previous code, is violence, physical abuse, psychological abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. And what this code also focuses on is gender-based abuse, such as gender-phobic conduct, and then always also racial abuse. Some other specific examples in the new code is spreading of rumors, humiliating or insulting conduct, withholding work-related information or supplying incorrect information to the people you work with, stopping someone from being able to do their work, excluding someone from work-related activities, intolerance of personal circumstances, be it medical or psychological, or pressuring an employee to resign. It also focuses on passive-aggressive harassment. Some of examples of that include negative joking, sarcasm, condescending eye contact, such as eye rolling, facial expressions, or mimicking someone. Online harassment is also, especially in today's times, very important, and it also focuses on that, such as cyberbullying, contact or conduct or content over emails, social networks or social media, or inappropriate text and memes.
So what is the implication for employers?
Employers need to act both proactive and reactive. So there is an obligation regarding the proactive part for employers to take steps to prevent harassment in the workplace in the first place. Some ways they can do that is by adopting or amending their harassment policies, communicating that policies to their employees, and orientating, educating, or training their employees in that. Reactive conduct means that the employer needs to take action when harassment takes place or is reported in the workplace. So that means that there needs to be formal and informal proceedings in place to handle harassment in the workplace. Informal procedures meaning that there's a safe space for the employee to come talk about the harassment and to obtain advice or support. More formal proceedings being that there needs to be a formal procedure in place of how the harassment is reported and handled, such as grievance procedures or disciplinary action being taken against the parties who harass. It's also very important that confidentiality of the parties involved is maintained. The risk of not acting proactive or reactive is that the employer themselves may be held vicariously liable should the harassment claim be taken further or the matter referred to, for example, the CCMA.
With the risks involved, it seems quite serious. Thank you. I now understand that employers most definitely